Everybody talking about the weekend, I don't see the hype though. When it's done on Wednesday, see that with your eyes closed. Every hump day, 9 o'clock on the dot. The insurance syndicate be dropping gems, don't believe me, just watch. The insurance syndicate be dropping gems, don't believe me, just watch. The insurance syndicate be dropping gems, don't believe me, just watch.
Good morning, Syndicate members. What is up? We are live from Austin, Texas. It is great to be here. You all know my name. My name's Tony Merwin. I am one of your wonderful hosts. I'm here with my good buddy, Joe Cephas. Thank you, Joe, for showing up. It's always good to see you. How you doing this morning?
What did you just say my last name? What did you just call me?
Joe Cephas, isn't that your name? Your name's Joe Cephas right now. Maybe that's not it. I'm sorry. I got a little carried away for a minute with the nickname there. It won't happen again, I promise. I'll never, ever, mark my words, guys, I will never call him Joe Cephas online ever again. I promise. Cross my heart, hope to die, stick a needle in my eye. Hey, guys, man, if you're tuned in, be sure and drop some comments. Be sure and let StreamYard and show your comments from Facebook. Because if you don't, then you're anonymous. And I can guarantee you we're not going to pull up anonymous people like Ryan England here jumping up. Good morning to you, sir. It's great to see you. Thank you guys for tuning in. Again, Joe, because I'm not going to say it again. I only said it once. I promise I'll never call you Joe Cephas again, except that's maybe the third time I've gotten away with it. How's your morning going?
It's going good, man. I'm excited. It's funny how, you feel maybe if you're having like a slower morning or something. And then as soon as I hear that countdown start, man, I just get freaking hyped up, dude. So I'm doing good. I love being on this call with you. I love everything about what this group is literally evolving into and becoming. So man, I'm doing freaking good. But before guys, you guys are in for literally like such a killer episode. We were talking backstage with our special guest here, and we're definitely gonna drop some gold for you. But before we get there, Mr. Merwin, what's your weekly win? My
weekly win is that sales are way up. I got a couple of weekly wins actually. I was looking at my dashboard for sales with Avila, right? My wife's agency, and they're basically up 200% year to date, which is pretty fantastic. Now, granted, she's only in her second year, so you don't have to work that hard to grow 200% when you came from almost zero. But the fact that she is basically doing 200 to 300% more sales every month this year than she was last year, the girl's killing it, man. She is really working hard. I'm super proud of her. So that's a big win, looking at those reporting and just knowing that we're on the uptick. Like everything, when I look at all the metrics of the agency, everything is swinging up. Sales are up, inbound traffic's up, all of the Facebook, right, and engagement, all of that is way up. Like I'm getting better price on my leads on Facebook now too. My direct mail is coming in. Like everything is just up better than it was last year, and that feels great. The other thing is that, if I don't know if any of you guys are out there in the Medicare space or listening to me, but I have a banging new product coming out next week. Smoking hot. Can't tell you too much about it because loose lips sink ships. But if you like Medicare and you're looking for a super hot product, I've got an exclusive coming out next Monday that is lights out. You're going to want it.
Tony's winning, baby. Tony's winning.
What we do, baby.
Dude, it's like my weekly win since we started this softball team has been literally, it's all softball, dude. So, I mean, now granted, guys, I mean, I don't know if it necessarily qualifies as a win, but I would say it did because our past couple tournaments, we had a third place, and then the one before that, we were done like halfway through the day. But this past weekend, we played in a tournament here in Austin. It was probably the best competition that we've had. And we had second place, so we ended up losing in the championship. But man, it was crazy, and I think this really applies not just to literally my freaking softball team, but also to like across the board. Is the teams that have the most fun are the ones that are winning the most, right? And so I just love that. It was so much fun. I love being out. I was literally out there from 8 a.m. to I got home around 11 p.m., bro. So it's like a whole day thing, but it was awesome. I love being out there.
And this is your sponsored tournament team, right?
Yep.
This is the Redwood team.
Yep. Texas Redwood, baby. So yeah. And also my other weekly win, really. And it's funny because I was just telling Mitch, and guys, Mitch Gibson is about to hop on here. We're about to, sorry.
Told him.
We're about to bring him on, but I was telling him probably a couple weeks ago, like the interview that he had with me on his podcast was probably one of the best I've ever done. And so I'm super excited to bring him on the call today, guys. My good friends, and just another young gun freaking killing it in many different verticals. So we're going to bring him on, let him share his wins, and then we're going to get after it, y'all.
Yeah.
Gentlemen,
What is up, Mitch?
dude, this is
Insurance agent, podcast host, right? Ex-communications director or something for NS Communications. Like, this dude's got a pretty cool background. I was checking it out a little bit yesterday and kind of trying to get to know you a little bit. It's great to have you on here. What we like to do most time is just kind of let you introduce yourself to our audience. So just, tell them a little bit about who you are, what you're about, and what you're up to, man.
Absolutely. First off, both of you, thank you for the time and effort and everything that you guys do. I didn't know what the hell the syndicate was, but then I met Joe. I literally got I think it was 2 days later after we had like a little phone call. Next thing you know, I'm a member of the syndicate and love everything that you guys both do. And I think that you guys really bring some energy to the industry that is much needed. But I want to first kick off with my win. I've been in and out for the last couple of weeks, just kind of enjoying some vacation, bachelor party, a little bit of work here and there. And I got to see my kids for the first time in about 7 days. So coming home to them Monday morning after a long flight from Phoenix, Arizona. Not that
long of a flight, just that many delays, right?
it was pretty brutal, yeah.
How many kids you got?
I've got 2 little girls. I got a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old. So
right on, man. Joe's a girl dad too.
I know we got a little bit in common here. So I have no choice but to put myself in a position to win, especially with 2 girls that are going to turn into teenagers that are going to cost me more money. So why not start in the insurance industry?
There you go.
I've been doing this for about 4.5 years now, I guess, if that's give or take. Didn't have any intentions of being in the insurance industry. Kind of, and actually a car accident that I was in. Everybody was all right, but me living in Indiana, I should know that the ground gets slick when it rains and it's cold. And I hit my brakes pretty heavy, got in an accident. I didn't know what the hell to do in a claim. I didn't know what to do after that. Felt kind of like that young punk kid who didn't have anything in play. I mean, I was working promotions and marketing events for the radio station, week in, week out, night in, night out, late, and decided that it was something that I didn't want to do for the rest of my career. So I kind of contemplated what I wanted to do, had a conversation with the agency. I'm here where I'm at now and have been for 4.5 years, fell in love with it. And dude, I'm telling you, if you're just now getting into the industry, you have no clue what it's about, stick with it.
Yeah.
Give it time. I was always told, one of the principal owners here, he said, give it 3 years, then decide if it's what you want to do. Don't give it 1, don't give it 2, give it 3 years. I gave it 3 years and I love what I'm doing. So you'll see me in the industry for probably the rest of my career. So that's a little bit of a background. And I guess now I've got 2 podcasts. One's an insurance podcast tailored towards younger agents, and the other one's a local podcast. And Joe, we can kind of get into that here as well, because I think it could be beneficial of why I even do the local podcast.
Before we get into the podcast and stuff, I mean, it's funny because it's the thing, I guess the things that are repeated the most on this kind of episode or these calls or whatever, and really it's not even just within syndicate, it's like across the board with all the agents that I speak with, especially those who are really coming into success, and like they always say, guy, like it's not an overnight get rich like type of thing, right? Now maybe, I mean, if you're in life insurance, it's funny, John Wetmore was saying, it's not a get rich quick, but it's get rich pretty quick,
get
right?
Rich pretty quick.
Yeah, like, but on the PNC side, which Mitch is obviously in the PNC world, it's not an overnight thing, and it does take the discipline and the consistency of showing up. And even when you do have 2 kids, right, and just being able to be present within your business, but really just, I think, within the industry, right? And when you look at it as a whole, the ones who have found the most success didn't do it overnight, right? So I love that you said that and led with that, because stick with it, y'all. And how old are you, Mitch?
26.
26. So, and I'm 27, right? And really in the past like 18 months, probably the past couple of years, I've really started to like feel the fruition or taste the fruition of the work that I've put in for almost 9 years, or it's 8 years now. So I just wanted to highlight that. I love that you said that.
Well, let's get into insurance.
Well, before we get into that, it's the long game's fun, right? But you're not just, you said the quick wealth, but you're also talking about, giving it time, because it will build what I like to call the generational wealth. Mm-hmm. Right? Do you want it to last for 10, 15 years? Because you can, right? And then you want to go do something else. But if this is something you truly want to, grow and build generational wealth with, I mean, give it time and play the long game with it, right? I mean, it comes in steps, it comes in tiers. It doesn't just happen like this. I mean, You've heard it now from me, Joe, and I'm sure Tony was in the same boat, right? I mean, the second that you understand and you kind of glue yourself in the seat and say, this is what I want to do, and dedicate your time and energy to it 10, 12 hours a day for 6 days a week, guess what? You're going to win. And that's, for me, that's what you have to do. It's the mind. I mean, it's the mind and the reverse psychology that you're playing with your own self. So that's, you hit that right on the head there. But Tony, to answer your question, it was honestly to me just having a conversation. The two people, the two owners are here now. They kept reaching out to me like, hey, I think you'd be good at it. You know, I think it's two or three times, maybe even more than that. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to sit in a chair like Jake from State Farm and wear khakis.
What are you wearing, Jake?
So for me, it was like I had that. It was that cliche view and perspective on what an insurance agent was, or what I like to call a risk advisor. That's what I consider myself more so of. So by having that perspective, I'm like, nah, I'm good. Accident happened. I sit down, have lunch. They share with me what it's about, and I'm like, whoa, 180-degree difference of my perspective on it. And I think that's why us insurance agents or risk advisors get a bad name, is because of the way people perceive an insurance agent. So for me, blindsided by it, took a leap of faith. Now I'm an insurance nerd. So hey, I saw you put your glasses up like this. I think I need to sniffle a little bit.
So obviously insurance agent now for, what'd you say, 4 years?
4.5, yeah.
Right, 4.5. Okay. And you're in Indiana, so is that how y'all know each other, is from Indiana?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. I didn't even know who he was.
Because I swear pretty much everybody Joe introduces me to is from Indiana. It's like he's just up there pulling people down to Texas and finding them. It's like, oh,
nobody wanted to know Joe when I was in Indiana. We'll just leave it at that. But I don't know if we would be friends, guys.
Was it because you lived in the same town as one of the best concert venues, I think, in Indiana?
Yeah,
so you're just over to concerts all the time?
You're not the only one. I was talking to Jason Katz about that. He's like, dude, I go to see Dave Matthews there all the time. And I was like, bro, I used to go to Dave Matthews and camp out. Now, my experiences at Dave Matthews were a little bit different. So again, that's probably why some people wouldn't like me or Indiana Joe. I'm good now, guys. I promise.
No, I love it. Believe it or not, where Joe's hometown is literally 15 minutes up the road. So we're
cool.
Here. I'm sure we'd have coffee 4 or 5 times a week. But
cool.
Didn't know him before that.
Cool. So, and now you're running 2 podcasts. You said you have one local one and then one insurance related one. Is that right?
That's correct. Yes. So the local ones is kind of a fun story. It's just, I guess, kind of probably how my name became even halfway, I guess, of awareness in the industry, where you see on LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever, and how it led me to the insurance podcast was because I about 2.5 years ago was kind of contemplating. I was in between that 2 and 3 year. Oh shit, what am I going to do next? Kind of when's this going to click? When's it going to hit? So right before the pandemic, I reached out to Bradley Flowers. If you guys don't know Bradley, insurance guys podcast, big time guy. Anybody listening right now, go listen to a show of his, and you'll understand why he's such a knowledge well. But I reached out to him because he was putting something on Facebook or LinkedIn about marketing and drip campaigns and podcasting and all this. And I'm like, dude, I want to know who this guy is. I want to have a conversation with him. I want to get some ideas and ask him for help. So before we get into what I'm going to say, remember the word ask for help. Okay, the whole entire time here, ask for help. So I've shot him a DM on Facebook. I'm like, damn, this guy's not going to get back to me. There's no way he's going to get back to me. He's Mr. Big Guy. He speaks at every conference known to mankind. He's got this massive podcast. And quite frankly, I just didn't think he wanted to deal with me. So I just randomly shot him a polite message. Hey, let's talk to you about this, that. It went 15 minutes later. He messages right back. Hey, here's an email address. Send me an email saying you want to get on pod or spend 15, 20 minutes talking. 2 days later, I'm sitting here like you guys face to face on Zoom or StreamYard, or what we want to call it now, asking him questions, asking him for advice. Hey, what would you suggest? I'm young. I've kind of started to rebrand myself, which also is going to tie back into branding to the agency. I was going through a midlife crisis, got divorced with 2 kids at 24 years old. I'm like, what in the hell is going on with my life? But main focus and main concern was I got to put food on the table. So business was my focus, and I spent that time with him. Took all the notes I could, and the biggest key factor that we talked about, and the thing he helped me out with the most with, was he encouraged me and almost demanded or dictated me to start a local podcast. And I'm like, what in the hell? Why would I do that? Like, what's that going to benefit other than take up more time of my life? Yeah. Right. So we get to talking, and as I'm kind of blowing it back to him, how's it going to help? It clicks. He goes, interview business owners, let the businesses talk about them. Don't talk a lick about it in insurance. About 2 months later, I had started the Inside Hancock County podcast, where I was interviewing local business owners and businesses, highlighting them, giving them a chance and a platform to be able to share what they've got going on. And it kind of blew up from there. I got a local television station here, a communications company called 9 Star Connect. They show it every Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. and 9 a.m., which is awesome. So I'm getting more viewers that way. But what it's done is established kind of my name and my blueprint of what I'm doing, right? So like, I'm not talking insurance. So by me being able to put this out in the community then thinks, who's that guy? What the heck?
Local insurance expert.
So when they click and they find me, there it is. So they find you on Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever it might be. When they're stalking you and looking you up, trying to figure out who you are, next thing you know, their first thought is, oh, maybe he can save me some money on insurance. Maybe he can take a look at my car insurance and see if I've got any leaks anywhere, or home or business insurance. So for me, it was that first step. And then the second one was 75% of the time, the business owner that I was interviewing, maybe not that day I interviewed him, but the day after or the week after, was sending me an email asking me about insurance.
Right.
So I was adding value. So it was just adding value to the community, adding value to that business, letting him showcase themselves, which what business owner doesn't want to talk about their business, right? So they go 45 minutes to an hour. They make 20 to 50 different, connections of other people. The way you're asking questions, you're building that authority. The next thing you know, you've got a funnel. You've got a sales funnel for business insurance.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of the, I guess, end all be all of what I was doing with that show. It's getting ready to kick back off. I'm gonna start a contractor series, which is going to be like on a Tuesday, Wednesday type of show, just interviewing contractors in general. That's more of a prospective client for me. So being able to interview and understanding why that prospective client's going to be a good guest, build that relationship, go ask him for a chance to talk about insurance, and you have a warm lead in a not a step in the door. You've got a big lead in the door at that point.
Sitting in your house.
Right.
That is a really smart idea for P&C agent. I mean, it's good grassroots work. You're developing leads, you're developing hot leads for yourself, but you're also indirectly positioning yourself as the local person of interest and branding yourself without even having to put, I shouldn't say a whole lot of effort, but truthfully, not too much effort other than just doing the podcast. That's pretty slick. That's a great idea.
I will tell you, if you are wanting to start something like that, obviously I'm full of I guess, information that I can share with you, systems, technology. Joe's probably in the same boat, but I think what I was able to do, not just starting the podcast, but starting a podcast on a budget that really had no money to start the podcast on at the time. So for me, it was coming up with those free, financially safe, easy ways that I could get it done in a quick, timely manner, because editing video is not easy, people. Editing video is the hardest thing in the world. And for me, I'm more of a video person than just a talkative person. I talk with my hands, I've got emotion. So for me, I needed to have it video. So I learned so much. I learned so much with my first probably month and a half, 2 months of the show, because it was, my time I was taking up way too much time with it. Way too much time. And if it's taking up time away from time that I could be writing insurance, building different systems, processes, I'm losing. So I'd love to talk before you get all chaotic and get yourself down the path where you're sitting there 3 hours later,
like
still trying
20
to edit a
grand
30-minute
on equipment.
Exactly.
You just need a laptop and the internet. It's really all you need.
I swear.
That'll get it done. That's what I run this thing on. You worked in radio before, though, right?
I did. So I got my degrees in telecommunications, sales, and promotion. So I actually worked for 1070 The Fan, ESPN Radio, 1070 The Fan. Everybody probably knows David Dockage. Worked for that group for quite a while.
I didn't know that.
Station. I did, yeah. I worked for B105.7, it's a soft rock station, then 97.1 Hank FM. I was doing the promotion stuff, helping out as a promotions director. Started as a promotions assistant. So realistically, what we were doing was just going to different events. Clients, like maybe Connecticut Water was one. It was having a new grand opening. We'd go set a tent out there. We'd do a live broadcast. We'd give away free items, do a register to win for $50, $100 gift card to somewhere. Blah 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 blah. Move on with it. We also hosted the broadcast for They announce Colts every Sunday. So Hank FM's the host of Colts Radio, and going to Colts games, that was fun, enjoyable. I met a lot of really cool people. Country music side is kind of the route that I wanted to go. That's retirement plan. That's retirement dream number one, is to start on a record label. So that's kind of the route that my degree was taking me. And just like probably 75 to 80% of other agents in the world.
Well, this is like the perfect pivot, because literally we were talking about this beforehand, music, right? And so like for me and Mitch, like, and I'm big on music too. It's literally how we open the freaking call. As soon as I hear that freaking song come on, man, I just get freaking hyped. But it's funny you say that, because like here in the office, if it's like quiet or something, I always do it. I turn music on and it changes the atmosphere. So like what Mitch, like what is your go-to? Well, you just said country, so you must be a country dude, but like what are, like, for me, I'm across the board in all genres, man. Like anything can get me hype. Like Dire Straits' Money for Nothing is like my first go-to. That intro is so hype. But like what is your like go-to genre, or maybe your top like 2 or 3?
Man, so the genre things, that's a very tough question, especially top. I'll give you 2 or 3. Honestly, just in the morning time, and my kids are the same, but it's just kind of funny. So my kids want the music up loud. And it's not because I just jam with the music up all the time. I'm not a bad father, I promise. And it's not bad music. It's not going to be rap or any of that stuff. But the thing that I've learned is if I set the tone in the morning with some upbeat, positive music, we're all in better moods. Kids, myself, I mean, the day can go. Yes, big country fan. If I'm gonna have to say, top is probably hip hop and rap for me. Yep. Even though some of them can be pretty disgusting and like, what the heck did they just say? But it's more so it's a vibe and a beat for me that's gonna get my head bobbing. I've got ADHD, so something that can keep me moving, something that's gonna pump me up. And then once the playlist gets going, it's game over. So I'd say hip hop, rap, and then we'll go country, and then probably, you ever heard of Kygo? It's kind of like a dance type. Yeah. Kygo is probably one of my all-time favorites. So we'll go with those 3. What about you guys, Tony? I want to hear what are you listening to?
Are you familiar with Engelbert Humperdinck? That's one of my favorites.
For some reason, I'm not. But for some reason, I feel like that's
him and Neil Sedaka. I'm a big Kenny G type guy. You know, that stuff. It's real fast paced. I like it. You know, it's got a good beat, and you can bob your head to it.
Tony drops off like, what the fuck is that? Like, who is that dude? Like, I can't tell if you're joking or not. Yeah,
he's joking. Gosh, he's joking because he was hoping I'd say yes. Like, oh yeah, I
Master Troll. I went to school for music as well. I went to school actually for audio engineering originally.
Okay.
And then got into sales. So go figure. But so I'm pretty diverse on my music selection. But I would say if I had to pick one that definitely can light my day up and get me moving in the right direction, would be reggae. I'm a big reggae fan, especially Steel Pulse is probably my favorite. So you turn some of that on. It's hard not to feel good. It's hard not to get positive vibes and just feel good about your day and whatever you got going on. So, and then of course I'm from the 80s. So, you know, some hair band metal and stuff is definitely where I'm at. I like a lot of AC/DC. Anyway, so yeah, rock and roll.
Hold on one sec. That was Ryan. I was reading Ryan's question. So for me, I'm probably with you on the hip hop rap, man. Now, but I'm all over the damn place, man. Like you should look like, and I just go to my liked songs. So anytime I ever like if I'm feeling it, I just like it, and then I'll just put it on there, dude. And it'll go from like freaking J. Cole to like Foreigner to like freaking like country, like Brooks and Dunn, and then it's like some classical music, and then it'll go to like freaking like Skrillex. Like, I mean, I'm all over. Dude, my guys in the office are like, what the hell are we listening to it? Or it's like it'll turn on. I have like, because I'm an island boy, I always turn that on.
Right. And that's where I leave the studio.
That's about where I'm leaving too. If that shit starts, I'm out.
There's a third one now.
End broadcast.
Real quick before we move on, Ryan had a question for you, Mitch. Mitch, do you feel someone needs to get their agency processes and systems where they need to be and have production up before starting a podcast? Wondering if it takes too much time away, like you had mentioned. So it's kind of backtracking. So basically, do you think it needs to all be set up, systems, processes, blah, 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 before you actually start the podcast, or kind of do it as you're kind of going? I guess.
So one thing that I regret not doing was recording 5 or 6, maybe even up to 10 episodes before I even announced the show. And the reason being is because you've pre-recorded those. So that gives you 10 episodes. If you're doing one a week, like I know right now my insurance podcast, I've got about 7 or 8 sitting in the hopper ready to go. So what that does is I don't have to record now for probably 2 or 3 months. You know, I might do one here and there, but developing a schedule of, okay, I'm going to record, you know, between 7:30 and 9 p.m. at night, or I'm only going to let people book a recording with me between 6:30 a.m. and 9 a.m. in the morning. The reason is, like I just said, step one, don't let this get in the way of your job or what you're supposed to be doing in the insurance space. Because the second you do and you start interviewing in the middle of the day, it's going to throw you off your whole vibe. It will throw you completely off. So back to your answer or your question of should you have the processes set up prior to production? Yes, absolutely. Know who you're going to interview, and if there's any advice on top of that I could give you out of those 10 guests that you pre-recorded, make sure your first 10 guests are people who have, one, a good following, have either a popular event or something that you can show them that you've got authority of your podcast. Oh, he had that guy on the podcast. Yeah, this is a good show. Oh, he had the mayor on. Yeah, that's a good show. He had that big manufacturer that nobody knows what the hell's inside of it. Yeah, that's a good show.
You've had the mayor on your podcast.
That was my question. Did you have the mayor on?
It's coming up. I just kind of spilled the beans a little bit, but having those people, those guests on that have that following and have already built that authority some other way is only going to make your show better. So make sure those guests are strategically thought out. Don't just say, I'm going to go interview the coffee shop lady down the street. Those are good. But that coffee shop might have, go check them out. How busy are they? What's it like? Should you maybe go interview them at their store instead? So as people are walking in, they're asking questions. What the heck's going on here? I like to, and what I did for my first couple was I interviewed them at their store or in a studio. So I was right there with them. So people could feel like we were interacting together, and they knew it was somebody local, not someone outside of Henry County. So if that answers your question, Ryan, other than that, feel free to shoot me a DM. I'd love to hop on a call.
Was the mayor's name Engelbert? I can't even say it without laughing.
Excuse me, Mayor Humpeldink. What do you know about? So you have what do you call Inside Hancock County or something like that?
That's correct. I actually had to rebrand it to Inside Indiana. Okay. Because I was kind of running out of
territory.
So now it's more so me asking for hey, I want this particular person. So I'm now actually pinpointing actual prospects on my list.
Right.
It's not trying to find that authority anymore. Right now it's just a sales generator for me in a lead funnel. So for me, that's the difference from the start of the show to where it's at now.
Absolutely. And you have another one though. Right? You said you have another one that's specifically insurance related?
It is. So I'm actually on the Agency Intelligence Network. If anyone's heard of the Agents Influence or AI podcast, any of that stuff with Jason Cass. I was a guest on Jason's show a year and a half ago because Bradley had shared something on his podcast or a video somewhere out in the world about why I started the podcast and the advice that he gave me and why it works. So he kind of used me as a case study is what I'm getting to this at. Told me to do it. I tried it. I did it. It was successful. He shared it. And when he shared it, people started reaching out to me. Jason reached out to me first. He had me on the show. After the show, he didn't know that I was radio and television communications background. He's like, dude, you're pretty good on talking on the mic. You're good on camera. I was like, well, that's what I went to school for. He was like, why don't you guest host my show for 8 weeks? I said, whoa. And they've got the Agency Intelligence Network's the #1 rated insurance podcast right now by specific places, but it's not all. You can't always believe those. So to hear that and to hear that question and to get that honor, I was like, how could I not say no?
Yeah,
so obviously I said yes. I put together an 8-week series, all marketing and content driven. And then right after that series was over, he goes, dude, I think it's time you start your own show on the network. So we kind of brainstormed and I said, I want to have something that's for young agents because as a young agent starting 4.5 years ago, looking back, I wish I would have known something like that existed. right? It's not necessarily the, hey, we're the biggest, baddest agents across the world. No, it's the, who can I have on as a guest that we can give back and give young agents a place where they can speak their mind, they can share their issues, but also, better yet, they can get tips and tricks and learn from other agents who are out there doing it. Doesn't mean that everybody should be doing the same thing. It's a suggestion. It's a tip. Hey, this works for me. Try it. If it doesn't work, kick it off and try something else, right? So being able to give some advice, give a clear future path of what they can expect, like, hey, continuously shoving down their throat, be patient with this industry, give it 3 years, things like that, just being consistently told over and over again would have helped me out a hell of a lot more. And I honestly think if I would have kicked my ass into gear the first 2 years a little bit easier or a little bit better, I'd probably be in a different financial predicament, right? But that's not what it's about. It's about the learning. It's about the learning piece. We're taught stuff in school and then we go take tests. And then we get into real life. We take the test and then learn. You know, I heard Andy Matheson at Globox talked about that. Yep. You know, that is the most true thing in the world. So by starting that show for young agents,
well, I want to highlight that. Like, amazing. You guys are. I hope you guys are hearing this, right? Because there's a common theme with literally how Mitch is winning. Like, he is winning because, like, his Hancock one, well, I guess, which is Inside Indiana now or whatever it's called now that you're kind of expanding. It all is starting with highlighting others, helping others win, right? And it's so, I have so many cliche lines that I use all the time, but they're like not even freaking cliche. It's when you give, you get. Like, literally everything that you're doing, you're using your skill, you know, in the radio and the broadcasting and all of that type of stuff to help other businesses win, to help them attract other clients, right? Which is nobody else is really doing that, man. Like, there aren't podcasts out there that it's like, yeah, I just go out and I interview all of these local businesses. I just love that your whole, like, the center of it is literally highlighting others, helping young agents, because, man, you don't know what you don't know. And if I knew what I did today, 8 years ago, I would be in a very different situation, right? So I wanted to highlight that, and kudos to you. You know, I think you're like the perfect person to even have on this call, right? Because you're literally winning in the most selfless way. But when you're doing it in that manner, it's like you win big. Right.
Sure.
Kudos to you, man.
Well, I think too, what you just hit on was Bradley did tell me one thing. You know, he's like, the thing that you don't understand is you don't know it all. You will never know it all. And for me, I don't. Like, that's why I have guests on. You know, I'm no Ryan Hanley and can do 3 episodes of just solo dolo for an hour and a half and just shoot it out. I can't do that. That's just not for me. So that's having those guests on who have been there, done it, bringing them involved. Let them share even better, you know. And the thing is, if you're going to go into this expecting something in return, you're wrong. Because that's the mindset from the beginning. Go ahead and kick those 10 episodes that you prepared for and had a good guest out of the way, because the podcast isn't going to survive. Make sure that you are doing one thing: giving back and helping others, helping the other person win. Eventually, I'm a big good karma, bad karma person. Eventually, it will lead to good things coming for you. I can promise you. At some point in time, tell my kids every morning, just try to make a difference in someone's life. Try to make someone else smile today.
Yep.
It's all about helping other people in this scenario, because if you help other people at that time of need, someone would be willing to help you at that point in time, and they do. And that's why I'm not afraid to ask for help and ask questions, ask for advice. I think that's starting to make me who I've become. Is I'm not scared of the big dogs. I'm not scared of any of those people. I got beat by an agent here locally from I'll even say it, from MJ Insurance on about a $250,000 account. Guess what? I'm interviewing her on the MVP podcast next week. Yep. Because I want to know why the hell she beat me.
Right. Yep.
I want to learn from her.
Absolutely.
That stuff helps. So that podcast, it was almost for me, not anybody else, because I want to know why I just got beat on this account. What premium, you know? So what was it? Was it a value add? What was it in your process that was so appealing to that customer, different from mine? So I'm going to turn my negative into a positive for somebody. So that's at the end of the day, it helps us all.
3 words: lead with value, right? Every interaction, every engagement, every relationship that you try to stimulate, every show that you do, every client that you talk to, right? That's the message that I'm getting from you, Mitch, is that you always practice, how can I lead and add value to this interaction? And if you take that approach constantly, my dad always did that and taught me to, but he taught me a little different angle, but it's the same concept. His was always lead with service, right? How can I be of service to you? How can I help you? What can I do to try to serve you today? Same concept, right? Lead with value or lead with service, same deal. Definitely a lesson that isn't taught as much to younger people today, I believe, right? We are in such an entitlement society where it's take. Where's mine? Where am I going to get mine? Right? How do I get mine? You honestly, Zig Ziglar said it a long time ago, man. You get yours by serving other people.
Sure.
100%.
And right now I'm in the middle of, I think we're challenge 6. I've survived 6 challenges in the Protege through David Crothers Killing Commercial Insurance stuff. I don't know if anyone's ever seen the Protege or not, but if you just type in the Protege Insurance online, you'll be able to find it. So for me, that's the big thing right now where we've done the last couple of weeks is we're building a value add. Or what's your value proposition for this vertical market? I'm going after HVAC service contract and residential service contractors.
Let's talk about that a little bit. Like I know we were
we actually have
backstage.
Kyle just got a question that leads right in with that.
Yeah,
so that's perfect.
Are you mostly personal or commercial lines? What proposition are you leading with to get in front of the decision maker? And so maybe talk about kind of where you've niched down first, right? And I know you've got a couple different verticals that are podcast being one of them, right? You got like that's an actual niche, guys. But then the other 2 ones that we were talking about backstage, maybe highlight on some of those and then kind of get into how you are getting in front of somebody who's, it's a $250,000 premium account. Like that's no small premium, guys. So I would love to hear more about that.
So for me, if I'm going in for anybody, I know, for example, the value add. Okay. Oh, I'm going to backtrack on the value add. But for me, if I'm going to go to a big customer, I'm like I said, what's one thing I love doing is helping other people. Okay. The service, our motto here is service, strength, and security. The 3 S's: service, strength, security. So I need to make sure I put that in perspective when I'm looking for the client. I'm not looking for the everybody's ideal client as far as, they got it in 0.90 mod. They've had no OSHA violations, none of this. They've had, they've got great safety manuals. That's not the person for me. I'm going after the person that's having issues, big issues, OSHA issues, worksite safety issues, mod over 1.1 or 1.2, because comp is something that I lead with. Okay, so I'm leading with a value proposition to help lowering their mod to put money back in their pocket, lower the bottom line. For me,
that's good.
By being able to provide a service and a program that's going to help run a mod analysis, that's going to be able to help analyze that, put together a strategic plan to help put them in a safe, better working environment where they're able to save money. For an example, they have a 1.2 mod. We get them a sub 1 mod and their work comps over $100,000 account. Guess what? They've got enough money at that point in time by just lowering their mod that much in 3 years. They can go buy 3 new pickup trucks. So when you say to people, when you give them an actual tangible object to say, hey, so saying we can save you 5% or 20%. Hey, if we get that mod below a 0.90 or a 0.10, you're going to be able to buy 3 new pickup trucks, which buying 3 new pickup trucks is going to allow them to hire 3 new employees, 3 new service vehicles out in the town. That's more customers, more financial dollars in their pocket. So if you don't have a value add or you don't know your value proposition, I can't determine that for you. Okay, it's going to be whatever your vertical market is or what your niche focus is. Become creative with it, and that's what we're doing in the Protege right now. So if I could suggest anything, go back and watch Protege season 2 here, and you'll be able to see the steps of creating that value prop, that value add, the marketing flyers, the cold calling, elevator speeches. And then we're going to get into, right now, we're getting ready to get into the selling aspect and actually setting up appointments and meetings. So for me, understanding and becoming, I guess, a nerd or a professional of what specific thing you're going to go lead with. Safety is mine. What can you add value with? That's educational safety library, free different downloadable documents, worksite safety manual, whatever it might be. You've just got to add value in some way.
Well, I think with it, one, you just blew Tony's mind because Tony's like, what the fuck is a mod? I don't even know what the hell y'all are talking about. But I know Kyle Hoffman he's been really, well, one, he's been growing, he's been killing it, but he's trying to figure out how to niche down in specific commercial spaces. So but I love what you said, because I think some people will look at that account and be like, oof, I'm not touching that. Right? When really they just need somebody to step in and freaking help them. And I love that I didn't know that's how you got in the door, but that's actually, it's so good, because there's a lot of people that they would look at that and be like, ooh, they don't have a safety manual, or they do have OSHA violations. Like, I'm not touching that, right? Because it's too risky or whatever it is. When it's like, well, there's actually resources and tools and education that you could provide. They're not, it doesn't mean that it's now, maybe there's some accounts that you're like, oh, okay, maybe I don't want that one. But, you know, again, you could have still gone in, maybe you don't even insure it, but you help them like freaking run a better business, right?
Sure.
So I love that you said that. That's gold, man. I didn't know that's how you got in.
Just giving them something. So another thing, by giving them free things that they can get off of your site or landing page. Like, I've got a landing page, and I'll share it on this page for everybody after the show. But it's not all completed, but it's live. But it's my work comp process. I branded the work comp process to become something called Comp Shield, powered by HRM Insurance. So it's Comp Shield powered by HRM Insurance. All it is the process.
Yeah.
All it is my process of getting your work comp mod down. And then there's a link, or there's another, I guess, header drop down box for an education learning center for HVAC contractors only, tailored specifically toward HVAC contractors. The videos aren't completed yet, so you won't see those on there, but it's going to have topics like, 5 steps of lowering your mod, making sure that your fleet safety manual includes this or that. And the biggest thing about having downloadable things, what am I able to do when someone downloads a document? Track it. I'm able, if I just ask them their first, last name and what company they're with, if I spent $500 on Facebook ads for a free fleet safety manual,
right,
and I ran it on Facebook for 2 weeks, and I was driving them to that specific link to that safety manual, they download it. You have to enter their name, email address, phone number. I can see now through Zapier and through my CRM who downloaded that document.
Yep.
That's a warm lead. If someone's looking at that, they have an issue. Why else would you need a safety manual? Why else would you want to look up 5 ways to lower your mod? Because you've got a high mod. So they're now warm leads. So I'm being able to track that, being able to put them in drip campaigns. It's just another place that I can get information, get the data I need to be able to put them in a leads list, go out and go sell the insurance.
That's good. That's freaking good, man.
Good stuff, brother.
That's great, because the insurance company doesn't control the EMOD. It's set by NCCI. We like to call it risk architecture, putting structure in place to help lower total cost of risk, improve culture, human resources, blah, 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 blah. Yep.
I'm so glad you just said total cost of risk. That's it. I think too, instead of using the word for people, of saying, hey, how can we lower your premium? Don't tell them that. Say, how can English?
I have to keep doing it.
We're here to help analyze your total cost of risk. Not we're here to help lower your insurance premiums. By looking at your total cost of risk, we're able to identify, analyze, put in programs into play to help lower that bottom line for you, to where you can spend more time growing your business and seeing a clear future path. So, I mean, that's total cost of risk. Is it? Whoever said that, kudos
Kyle
to you.
Hoffman. Yep. You guys need to connect too, because Kyle's doing some really cool things. Again, shout out to you, Kyle, man. I've been seeing you, and I've actually been like Facebook friends and seeing you and kind of followed you for like almost 3 years now. Almost, it's pretty crazy. In Facebook groups and stuff, and just seeing how much you're doing, bro. I keep giving you shout outs because you're killing it, man. And I think you're like right at the tipping point of freaking taking off. So, Tony, you have any last? I've got a couple things I wanted to ask Mitch. Do you have anything that you wanted to lead with, or any questions?
No. I don't even know what question to ask. What the hell is an EMOD? Who the hell is NCCI?
Damn health insurance people.
That's funny.
I'm a Medicare geek, man. I can bore you all with some of the same language and terms and acronyms in the Medicare space. But
I heard you talk a little Medicare before we got on. You're on.
Yeah. I like what you were talking about educating your clients and helping them learn to do what they do better, and then indirectly it helps their insurance premiums, right? It helps them get a better deal, helps them run, as Kyle said, improved culture in their business.
And you can do personal line side too, guys. You can do some personal line side, but the thing is
100%.
When you're building, I would focus on building referral partners, adding value to your referral partners, right? The biggest thing that mortgage companies and mortgage lenders deal with, and that they cannot stand, is receiving a certificate of insurance way too late, maybe even a day or two before closing, which is going to screw all their closing documents, going to put them behind, and they're going to remember you as that shitty client or that shitty insurance agent who didn't get them a damn evidence of insurance or deck page quickly. It's not that hard. So when you're building these relationships or trying to build these referral partners, don't go have coffee or lunch or cocktails with a mortgage or real estate referral partner without having some type of value add. I'm here to make the process for you go quicker.
Yep.
By me doing that quicker and getting that information and quotes done quicker, what does that do? It makes them be able to write more business. It does. Putting things in automation, the embed insurance piece. If you're not doing embed insurance right now with any of your referral partners, you're going to lose eventually. So find a way to embed yourself or your process in that referral partner's process is key.
Yep.
But you got to add value back. You can't just say, hey, let me quote one of your customers when they're coming to do a refinance. They don't want that.
Right.
They don't want that. You know what I'm saying? So that's the big thing. And then like Ryan said right here, asking them for help. What's the thing that I can do for you that's going to make your job easier?
Yeah.
Here's what I can add, but also what else would you like to see from me? They want that.
Yeah.
They want that because they honestly cannot stand insurance agents.
Right. I can't stand them either half the time. It's real quick though. So before we wrap up, 2 to 3 things, Mitch. And I know obviously we've covered a lot of just kind of who you are and really your motto and just how you really kind of run your businesses and all that type of stuff. But 2 to 3 things for agents, whether that's about getting started in the podcast world. And I think you've already kind of given some good tips and tricks on that. 2 to 3 things that have really helped change how you run your business or have helped you win more, right? Like, and I know you've covered a lot, but maybe again, just 2 to 3 things that maybe even a routine that you do. What could be a couple tidbits of info that you could share on that?
I'm going to go to the people that are actually struggling right now, whether it's personally, whether it's business-wise, whatever it is, or you're in that mindset of, what the hell should I do? Because I've been there a couple of times in the last 5 years, right? I've been in a couple times for the last 5 years, but I also think it's there for a reason so that I can learn from that, become a better person. But the thing that I wish I would have done earlier was putting different parameters in play in my daily life on what my core values are and living by the core values. Because if I live by my core values and I do a good job of those, that'll lead into good business work. That'll lead into being a good father. That'll lead into being a good coach, being a good podcast host. And those 4 things are bringing passion, enthusiasm, attitude, and positive effort every single day. Those are controllables, what I like to call controllables, right? I was taught those 4 controllables at Ball State when I played baseball there. Okay, our coach put it in our mind, ingrained it. Passion, enthusiasm, attitude, effort. 4 controllables. You control those 4 things day in and day out. Those require no talent.
Right.
But if you control those things, you're going to have a good chance of success and winning the day, right? So for me, I created that. Like I've created some graphics and some things to put on my backgrounds, on my computer screen, whatever it is. Yeah, I might have created a little logo, but that logo is nothing more than just to help me.
Right.
That logo is for me. So coming up with a process for myself, well, that's routine in the morning. I don't get up past 7 o'clock anymore. I was getting up way too late sometimes. Don't get up past 7 o'clock. People are already 3 hours ahead of you. People are already winning. So, having a motto helped me personally, which ended up turning into being a better father, being a good insurance agent, and the end all be all just being a good person. And that's why I love those 4 controllables. Podcasts. I'll give you some helpful hint on podcasting. iPhone, $5 clip-on mic, and something called Audacity, Audacity. It's a free audio recording platform where you can take audio in an MP4 format, even if you shot a video on here, drag it into there, turns into audio. Guess what you have? A podcast.
Yeah. Nice.
Costs $5, right? Costs $5.
I thought you meant Audacity, the trait, the personality trait. Probably need some of that too, though.
Right.
Absolutely. So there's a few for you, Joe. Unless anyone's got any other specific questions.
That's perfect, bro. That is
good stuff. That is good stuff. We are right at 50 minutes. This is definitely one of the longer ones that we've done, but it's been jam-packed with good stuff.
Good stuff.
Man, Mitch, thank you. No, it's not a hit. It's a great conversation. We could continue this thing easily.
Sure.
But we want to respect everybody's time, your time as well. Thank you so much for coming on. We definitely want to have you back at some point. So, look out for those invites. We'll get some more material together and bring you back on. But guys, look up Mitch Gibson. Check out his podcast. If you're in Indiana, you should look for the Inside Indiana podcast. But then it's the Real MVP. Is that right?
It's just the MVP. So most
the MVP. There you go. So check those out,
couple
look him up on Facebook, looking him on LinkedIn. The guy's obviously a wealth of knowledge, and he's there to bring value and help you out. So he's pretty much giving you an open invitation to reach out, connect with him, and he can help shed some light on what you're doing. So thank you all so much for coming out today and watching the show. Joe, you got any final words before we wrap this thing up? Anything you want to tell everybody?
Just thank you for hopping on, Mitch. Again, I mean, the first time I was on your MVP podcast, we're like, oh shit, man, we're going to do this all the time now. Cause it's like every time it's just a freaking good conversation, dude. So thank you for taking the time. Thank you, Tony. Love having you as my co-host, my man. But this right here, this little group of people, we got to get together, man. We got to do something together. But thank you all syndicate members. We love you guys. Hey, now is the time to win, right? It's Wednesday. The week ain't over. Let's go get it. Appreciate everybody. Everybody have a great rest of your week. Catch y'all later.
Got it. See you guys later.
The insurance